got my face instead of the little duck thingy. Oh my God, I am so happy to be here, guys. This is insane. First off, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Holy crap, we are here. We are here. We are here. MarkTalk is back. Well, I mean, we're here 4 days a week as of right now, of course. If you like what you see, please like, press, subscribe if you have access to that. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitter or Periscope, welcome. As you're probably aware, this is our first day where I'm on multiple platforms, and this is so exciting for me personally because that is really fucking cool. So if you're able to like it, if you're able to subscribe, do that. If you're able to say hi in the comments, do that. I'm so saying thank you for the 100+ subscribers on YouTube. We're working hard. We're playing hard. We're being nice, being good, being positive. That's the most important thing 90% of the time. And honestly, like, to have that outlook that much is an important thing. I mean, you should be the best person you can all the time, but being positive is a very important thing, especially 6 months into this fucking pandemic. Also, I want to post this just because people have been doing it, and it means a lot to the show. If you want to help the show, you can Venmo me at Mark-Levy. Any amount helps. And as I said earlier, we have you're watching multiple platforms. I have a new camera coming on Friday, guys, because of some of this help. Special shout outs to some of our the people that have helped the show: Adam Humphrey, Ben O'Connell, Tommy Pizzullo. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. So yeah, you guys are helping make the show happen and making the show be what it is. And the show is made for you guys, and it's great. So today, as usual, Wednesday is our interview day. I'm really excited. This is a guest I've wanted for a while. He's a good friend of mine. Met him during this whole horrible pandemic. Was like the first person to say something nice about my sequester game 3 months and change ago. Wow, it's so hardly 3 months ago. He is, I'm gonna call it the face of the Sequestars Twitter group. He is an all-around good guy, big movie nerd. We're gonna talk movies today. We're gonna talk a lot of things today. I'm so unbelievably excited to bring out my friend Kevin Falk.
What's up, guys? Very happy to be here.
I am so happy to have you here, man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. I mean, I'm glad that I finally woke up in time to do this. My sleep schedule has been horrible lately, but I'm glad that I'm here. We're doing this. We're talking the things that I love. If you can't tell, I like movies quite a bit. Yeah. So I'm very excited to talk this with you and, just have a fun experive. This is
so weird.
I love what you put together here. This is great.
Yeah. It's so funny because I've always seen the posters behind you. Like the one that always sticks out the most to me is my least favorite of those four, which is Joker. But I see a Manchester by the Sea, which is a movie I actually love because I love Kenneth Lonergan. I love my Avengers. I love it. Marcelo immediately wants to know about Cheetah Girls.
It's shit. I don't want to get into it.
All right, that's the answer to that.
Period. It's shit. It's not good. It's okay. Here's my thing with the Cheetah Girls. Okay. Let me explain it. I've explained about a half a dozen times. The Cheetah Girls has some excellent music. Definitely. It does have some good performances, but to me, it is one of those movies that is around just to sell a soundtrack. And I don't like movies like that.
I mean, there's not many movies like that, but I feel like Garden State's close to that, although Garden State I think has a little bit more merit to that. Yeah. I mean, I actually have no issue with Cheetah Girls personally. I've actually never seen Cheetah Girls, but I mean, I am a few years older than you, and that's probably why.
I don't know. I haven't seen it in a long time. I just remember it being really annoying. But going back to what we were talking about.
More important question. Girls who are cheetahs. That's a more important.
Ooh.
Like
girls
women,
who are cheetahs.
Like not the movie Cheetah Girls, but like girls that are actually cheetahs, kind of like an animorph, but like in real life.
I don't know. I mean, I guess we could consider like Kayla from Sequester 1, considering how fast she is with LOS plays. She's a cheetah in that, and cheetahs are naturally fast. So I guess there are girls who are cheetahs.
I mean, Kayla Schwank is definitely an animorph in my personal opinion. I mean, she's an amazing person, and I would not be in shock if she was an animorph. And she helped me a lot with for my team for Hunger Games. I thank her a lot because she was great to be part of.
That's awesome. Yeah, that was a great team you assembled. You had a really great group of people there. I'm
very, very honored with the people I chose and how it all turned out.
That's good.
Yeah. So yeah, let's talk a little bit. Because like I don't like you're one of the people that I met first in this community.
Mm-hmm.
And like, what brought you to Sequester? How about that?
So for me, it was something that really I just kind of found out about randomly. I was watching a Rahap video. They were talking about, they were doing a brand steal for Big Brother Canada, which oddly enough, I've never seen. That's what's even funnier about it. Like I was
because I know you're a big Brother fan. I know that.
Like, yes, I am. But Big Brother Canada, I was finally going to watch this season. And then, the pandemic happened and that didn't really work out. So I was very curious to see what they would do on this brand steal, how they would talk through it. And then Taryn briefly throws out this thing where it's like, oh, Melissa and I are doing this thing. It's called Sequester Mini. I'm like, okay, I've heard the name for Sequester for a while. I have no idea what it really is, though. I might as well give it a shot. I ended up watching it in the middle of the video. Like people say Michelle and Melissa have already been eliminated. I'm very confused as to how this really works. I'm on the YouTube stream like, wait, why can't I see what's going on? Foolishly realizing, oh, wait, I got to click this link. And then me being the dumbass I am, I click it all at once and it sounds terrible. So then I quickly learned I need to toggle it on and off. And I very quickly just got sucked into it. Like the way that, say, Liana was misting everyone into doing things and the way the Puya was able to survive just staying in a room by himself. It was very interesting type of strategy to me. It was interesting seeing these people that I've watched for a long time, talk about Big Brother, actually play a game and let alone be really fucking good at it. I think I forgot that Rob Cesternino was someone that, was on Survivor before and he's very savvy when it comes to, playing a game. And I think it was just something that I got sucked into right away. And very quickly, I'm like, I need to make myself a part of this somehow. Because I was watching through, I was combing through a little bit of other Sequester minis. I caught the first, I want to say 5 minutes of Josh Williams one. And then I watched a little bit of the one that Susie ended up winning. And I told myself, I'm applying to this. I randomly applied on Saturday, not actually thinking I'd be in. Audrey emailed me almost immediately, which I was really surprised about.
That's different from now. I feel like if you don't apply when it goes out, then you're not in.
Right. Yeah. She emailed me very quickly. And that was pretty much it. I played on 411. I didn't fully understand what I was doing. I talked to the same 3 or 4 people for the whole game, and I didn't really try to branch out and do anything. I played a very quiet game, much more so than I usually do, which I know, quiet me, that's hilarious. How could you possibly play a quiet game? But that is very much what I was doing. Aside from telling Dakota, who is in the game, to his face accidentally that I was considering voting him out. That's the most eventful thing I did in that game. But I do always say that's a game that honestly, you look at it now and you think of the sheer amount of people that were in it. I had Louie in there. I had Janine in there. I had Nico in there. Dakota was in there. It was a really stellar cast. And I'm happy that was the first one that I was a part of. And, it was one of those things. Shut up. It was one of those things where I love you guys, but shut up. I know. Me being quiet. It's wow. It's such an interesting concept. But it was one of those things where I was really happy to have done it, but I wasn't fully satisfied with how I played because I was dragged on very early, and then it was back when. I don't know if you watched back then, but what she used to do with the dragging rounds was if you were dragged, you immediately came back into the game. If you were dragged in the first 3 rounds, you didn't even have to do a buyback or anything. You were just immediately back in. So it was me, it was Comeback Charlie, and it was one other person whose name I can't remember. We all came back into the game. And I think I did a little bit better. I lasted at least 2 rounds, but we each had these tethers that we need to protect. I did not do a good job at all with protecting my tether, and that's how I went out. So the next few days, I got I got like a message from like TR. This was back when, before he was doing Podquester, the way he was originally going to do it was that he was going to do one-on-one interviews with like every single player and kind of like which I'm glad he's not doing now, because I can't imagine just how stressful that is, like getting everyone on Skype, you know, at once. But he interviewed me for like an hour, and it was really fun. Like I wasn't expecting for, you know, so much, such positive reception and things like that for a game that I really did not play that long. I was happy to be a part of, though, because it was, you know, such a stellar cast. And pretty much from then, I'm like, I need to play again. Like the sequester bug very quickly got to me, and pretty much since 5.15 and on, I've just been playing. I've been trying to play at least once a month, and yeah, it's become like my main thing now.
Yeah, I remember that, like when I first got into like the whole Twitter aspect of it, like the people were you, mainly because of my game, and Geneva.
Yes, I did Twitter very differently back then, because
I knew that you were one of the people I was like, I like what this nerd is, and I was like, cool.
Yes.
Awesome. And then we became friends very shortly after, which is nice.
Yeah, because I saw you in there, and I was like, Mark is someone that has so much potential. Like, you don't see someone like Mark on these shows before, and I want to see him again. And I'm glad that we were able to see you many times after that, because I think you've evolved into a really great player for sure.
Well, keep my threat level down, please, because I'm playing in 3 hours.
Yeah, that is true.
But no, I mean, it's all fun, and like, you know, you gotta keep it all in perspective, you know.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Big Brother too, because I know you're a really big Brother fan. And
man,
like
not a very sore subject these days, I must say.
Can I tell you like my history of Big Brother? Because my history of Big Brother is insane. So I watched the first season when it was live, because like that's what we did, like Survivor and then Big Brother, and like cool, awesome. And I got kind of bored by the end, and then I stopped watching until like the last episode of 20.
Wow.
Like, so I was at like a watch party.
That was a horrible finale too.
I know,
oh my god.
I know. And then I watched Celebrity Big Brother, because I heard I would enjoy it, because it's gonna be shorter, and you know, people I would like recognize. And then I liked it enough, and then I watched Celebrity Big Brother 2, and then I watched, which I love Tom Green, and I thought he did really good.
Oh yeah.
Like Tom Green's my favorite Big Brother player, actually, of all things.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love Tom Green. He was fun.
Then which
is funny, because I fucking hate like Freddie Got Fingered and things like that. I can't stand that movie.
I'm a big fan of weird comedy, but that movie does not do it for me.
Yeah. No.
And then after that, I started watching season 21. So my friends like, just watch it, and I'm like, cool. And soured on that pretty quick. But also at the same time was watching season 10, which I enjoyed, and season 17 after that, because people like get to see it because the twists and stuff like that.
That's one of my favorite seasons.
And then I'm now watching season 22, which is making season 21 look still very bad, but not much. Like, this is just boring. But tell me about like how you got a Big Brother.
So Big Brother was another thing that I just kind of randomly got into. I remember one day I was like at my neighbor's house, and I come home and my mom's watching like an episode of Big Brother. I randomly started watching it with her. I didn't know this was Big Brother 12. I didn't know who any of these people are. I see like fucking like Brendan and Rachel like making out in a bed. I didn't know what was going on there. I saw like I saw like Saboteur being revealed. I'm like, what the hell is a Saboteur? But very quickly it was something that I just kind of like got into. I started watching it like with my mom more often, and I started realizing this is actually a really interesting show. And I'm not someone that is a big reality TV guy. Like a lot of the people in the sequester community are like, oh, we love reality TV. That's not really me. Like I've watched a couple shows here and there, but I'm much more of like a scripted show type guy. Like those are the kind of shows that I watch personally. Yeah. But Big Brother has always been the exception for me. I love the social experiment of it all. I love the different ways that you can play the game. We've had some really great style of gameplay coming from it. At this point, though, I'm not going to lie to you. These days, it's very much more of I've reviewed it on my channel since Big Brother 15. Do not watch those reviews, by the way. Start watching it like Big Brother 17 and on. That's when you should start watching. 15 and 16, I had no idea what the hell I was talking about. 16, I literally like, there's this one part where I'm just like so pissed at what happened, like a double eviction. I'm literally like pounding a bowl like on the table. Like I was just so pissed. It's really bad. Don't watch those.
I mentioned you were like, because you're like the same age as.
I was like, yeah, I was like 15 when I did that. I was like 16. I was like 16. Yeah, it was not great. I don't recommend watching those or anything on my channel for that matter until like 2017. Once you get to 2016, 2017, that's when you can start watching stuff. I will get to that in a second, Andrew. Definitely. But no, go
seasons, but yeah.
Yes. But going back to Big Brother, it's one of those things where these days I pretty much watch it still because I've reviewed it for years. And if I wasn't reviewing it on my channel, I don't know if I'd be watching seasons like this one. It feels like last season again. I mean, I don't think this season is as bad as last season so far.
I'm going to take racism to be a big thing. And it's
exactly
there, but it's not like it was.
Yeah, it's more of an implicit bias, I would say. Whereas 21, it was just constant. Like it was the subject of literally everything. And it was just absolutely disgusting. Yeah. Between the Kemi stuff, the way they and the thing that was most uncomfortable to watch, them shutting someone as nice and like as vulnerable as Nicole like out of an HOH room, that really got to me as well. In 21, that was so hard to watch. But this season, I've said it so many times, I don't even think it's bad. It's just really fucking boring. And the fact that it's an all-stars game, like this mid-tier level of gameplay is just not ideal at all. The fact that we waited so long for a second All-Star season and this is what we have, like, when's the real season starting? Like, that's what I keep asking. When is the real season starting? When can we finally get that level of gameplay that I expect in an All-Star season? It's just very disappointing. Like the way that people are playing so safe and scared. It's like you are an all-star. You already know you've qualified as one. You shouldn't have anything left to prove, you know? It's just, and the way that Cody's trying to play like Derek and the way that like Memphis is trying to play like Dan, it's just so annoying to watch. And I'm just not really a fan of it at all. I mean, to put it into perspective, thank you, Ian. To put it into perspective, hopefully we see you on there at some point as well. To put it into perspective, I have not watched an episode of Big Brother since like last Sunday. I am so behind. I got to watch Wednesday and Thursday of last week, and I got to watch this week.
I was like Sunday was like 2 days ago. It's not that far behind.
No, I'm like, yeah. Yeah, I haven't watched since Tyler's HOH when he put up Janelle and Kaser. That was the last time I watched. And then Nicole F like freaked out at her because she's talking about me, and they had that whole argument. But aside from that, like I love Big Brother, but this season and last season has kind of been a chore to get through. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That's fair. I mean, I want to re-dive into a more prime season personally. Can we talk about movies now? Because this so for those that didn't see last week, Kevin was supposed to be on. My amazing girlfriend took over with like less than 30 minutes of notice, and we did the top 5 list. Me and Kevin were ready, but we have new top 5 lists for today. Ones that I'm also pretty excited about. Let me bring up the banner. So this is the top 5 movies we're most excited to see for the rest of the year. Do you want to start with 5?
So I came up with this one because, you know, even though we're in quarantine and things like that, movies are starting to finally come back out. There's a lot that I actually am quite looking forward to. Number 5 is one that I have just been so excited for a long time. I think you might have it too on your list. It's Soul, the new Pixar movie. I am so excited to watch this one. The different styles of animation in general, the way that Pixar is continually trying to, you know, up their quality and really just stand out in a way that other animation studios didn't. That's something that definitely is exciting to me. But then also, I think that this particular film is a perfect example of what makes Pixar so great. I've been going back through their filmography in anticipation for this one, and this looks like it's going to be one of their most personal films yet. And that's what I think Pixar touches upon the most, is those it is finding a way to put these deeply adult issues into films that are supposed to be for families and taking them seriously and really diving headfirst into it. And Soul seems like it's going to do that really well. The way it's exploring, you know, this side of this man who's like this middle school band teacher, but like it hasn't gone the way he expected. And we're going to dive deeper into like his passion for jazz and things like that. It seems like something that I think could be really touching, could really affect me on a human level for sure. You know, we all have that passion that we constantly gravitate towards, and maybe it's not working out that great, but like we still do it because that's what fuels us, that's what makes us happy. And it seems like Soul is really going to dive into that really well. The animation style, you know, all that kind of stuff. There's so much to look forward to with this one, and I just can't wait to see it. Pixar movies are ones most of the time that always deliver. There's about 2 or 3 Pixar movies I don't like. Aside from that, though, I love Pixar, and Soul seems like it's going to do what they do best.
Yeah, that did not make my list, but came very close. For number 5 for me, Wonder Woman 1984. I love Wonder Woman for the first 2 hours of the movie, and then I fucking hate the last 30 minutes. I think it turns
yeah. CGI mess. Yeah.
Like it really is a CGI mess. It's just CGI everywhere and no content. And I really think that I hope they learn from their lessons. I love that it's all like fucking badass swimming. That's like what I am all about. And I think it's going to be a really fun movie. I guess I'll do number 4 since it's on me right now anyways. Candyman. I fucking love the original. The trailer for this got me fucking scared. Which is saying, like, trailers don't scare me. They creep me out at most, but this scared the shit out of me. I think it's going to be different enough from the original while being, like, what you love about the original. And I'm excited to see it.
Oh, hold on one second.
Hey, little Piggy. So I guess I'll just talk about Kevin while he's not here.
Okay, so I'm back. Sorry, my mom was talking to me. Number 4, we have one that I've also been very excited for. It was supposed to come out already, which I feel like is going to be a lot of these. Number 4 is Wes Anderson's new film, The French Dispatch. Wes Anderson is one of those directors that, again, is one that if he puts out a movie, most of the time I am there. And French Dispatch seems like it's going to be everything that I love about Wes Anderson. Just the whole plot of it being this like European publication and then publishing this like memorial edition of the 3 best stories from like the last decade. It seems like it could be a really fun, like quirky story. The cast here is just insane. Timothée Chalamet, Bill Murray, Owen Wilson, Benicio del Toro, Tilda Swinton, Saoirse Ronan, Jeffrey Wright. I mean, you really can't go wrong with this cast at all. But then just the quirkiness of it all, like something as simple as like a sign that like tells you when to clap and things like that. I think things like that are just so funny. Little visual touches like that I love. And also the contrasting of cinematography with it being like regular and then some of it being black and white. I'm curious to see what that's really about. But just everything about this seems like something that I'm just going to really eat up. And again, Wes Anderson rarely disappoints me. And it seems like this one won't really be any different. So definitely French Dispatch at number 4.
Yeah. So what's your number 3?
Number 3 is and this one breaks my heart because number 3 is No Time to Die. And here's why it breaks my heart, because I went through, and I told one of my YouTube friends this. We did a whole, which you guys can check out on my channel. We watched a bunch of the Bond films like before No Time to Die because I was only going to watch a few of them. And then I realized, wait, I can just like watch all of them before No Time to Die because there's so many, and it was only January. So I could like space it out in such a way to where we could get it done before No Time to Die. And so we're getting to like the last of the Roger Moore ones, which are horrible, by the way. I do not like the Roger Moore era of Bond at all, especially A View to a Kill. That was really rough to sit through. So we get through A View to a Kill. I'm ready to move on to like I'm ready to move on to the next set of films. And then all of a sudden, No Time to Die is delayed. And I'm like, what the fuck? I just wasted like 3 months of my life watching these Bond films for basically nothing. It was a completely fruitless effort. And it also sucks because I think this looks amazing. I've loved the Daniel Craig era of Bond. It's been one of my favorite eras for sure. I've loved pretty much all of them except for Quantum of Solace. That's the only one that I really have not liked in the Craig era for sure. But aside from that, what I love about the Craig era is that it's the only Bond era that has had actual stakes and is told like a recurring story. And this just seems like it's going to be everything that a final chapter should be. The stakes have never been higher. You know, you get the sense that Bond needs to go on this one last mission. The way that we have this whole mystery between him and like Leia Sedu's character, not really knowing what's going on there. And my boy Rami Malek is in this as well, from Mr. Robot fame. One of my favorite shows ever. I think that he is such a talent. And when he is in the right role, he is one of the best actors working today. And having him in this as the Bond villain gets me so excited. I think he is really going to surprise people with just how great he can be. He's such a versatile actor, but I don't really feel like he's gotten to show that outside of Mr. Robot. So I'm really excited to see what he does here. Just that coupled with, you know, the cinematography and the amazing action sequences, everything about this just seems like the best ending to this era of Bond. And I hope it delivers in every way possible. So No Time to Die is definitely number 3 for me.
Awesome. My number 3 is a movie that I've been so excited about since I first heard of it. Kajillionaire.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I love, like all time, love Me and You and Everyone We Know, the first movie that Miranda July made. She's an amazing artist.
Yes.
She makes some really great books. The future has its problems, but it's her third movie, and it made big waves at Sundance. It's got Richard Jenkins in it, Evan Rachel Wood. Who else was in there? Deborah Winger, Patton Oswalt, like all these like really
Gina
cool
Rodriguez.
people. Yeah, like all these people are like, oh my god, these are like awesomely like in the weird. Miranda July. So for those that don't know her, she's a performance artist who makes really interesting art. Like Me and You and Everyone We Know is, I don't know how to explain that movie. But slice of life, but dark, and has the funniest shit joke I've ever heard in my entire life.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I got to see that one. I've only seen Madeline's Madeline from her, which is not, she hasn't even directed.
She acted in that. That was great. Yeah. One of my friends was a small role in that movie. That movie was fucking fantastic.
Oh, yeah. It's weird as fuck, but I love it.
Yeah. And as an actor, that movie like hits me in like weird spots, but that doesn't matter. I think Kajillionaire, it looks so cool, and I'm going to be there as soon as I can. Either VOD or in theaters if I feel safe yet, or if I'm allowed to. Yeah. So number 2 for me, West Side Story. I feel like that's gonna be coming less now from that noise, but I fucking love myself a good musical. I love what I've been hearing about the production of this movie. It looks great. Spielberg doesn't really do bad movies anymore. And like the whole production team is amazing. I know Lin-Manuel Miranda helped again, making things be more authentic. Because that's an issue with the original version of the script that Steven Sondheim says. It looks great. We haven't had a big musical in years, and I'm excited to see something big like that.
Yeah, West Side Story barely like made my list. Like it was almost in the top 5. I personally was way more excited for In the Heights, but then that got delayed. So that really, I was so excited for that.
It's on Broadway. It's like the second last show of it. I love that show. Switching up for 2.
West Side Story, I'm skeptical about if it's actually going to come out because of all the Ansel Elgort controversy as well. So I hope it does, though. I hope it does. And here's the thing, like, yes, obviously I don't want Ansel Elgort in the main role because I think that's going to be kind of hard to watch. But it's also important to know most of the actors in that movie are completely new. Like, this is their debut role. Like Rachel Ziegler, this film is dependent on her having a career. Ariana DeBose, the film is dependent on her having a career. And so I think just for that alone, like, it should come out and we should get to see. I hope that doesn't, tarnish their reputations. I want to see those actresses go far. Rachel Ziegler, especially, I've seen her on like Twitter and YouTube and things like that. She's such a talent, and I can't wait to see what she's going to do in this.
Yeah. So you're number 2, and then you're number 1?
Yes. So my number 2 is This one, the teaser didn't come out yet, but it's coming out very soon on September 9th. It's Dune. It's Dune. Denis Villeneuve's next film, who you really just can't go wrong with these days. Denis Villeneuve, I think, is absolutely one of the best working today. He has yet to make a film that I don't at least like. I think every film of his has been fantastic. I think he's been getting better and better as he has been going along. And whatever he's trying to accomplish with this film is on another fucking level. I mean, you look at the cast here and it's just insane. Timothée Chalamet, Oscar Isaac, Dave Bautista, Zendaya, Rebecca Ferguson, Stellan Skarsgård, Jason Momoa, Javier Bardem. Holy shit, what a cast. And then the plot is one that I'm not too familiar with, but I have heard that this is going to make up for the David Lynch movie, because I've heard that one. He's really not proud of the way that movie turned out at all. And it also just wasn't that faithful to the source material, which this seems like it's going to be. And this type of film is, I think, what Villeneuve really exceeds in the most. These like dark, sort of grimy worlds. I'm excited to see how he does that here. This really is, I think, his first like epic, because like he's done other films, but this is very much an epic in that way. And he said there's probably going to be more than one. And again, I'd love to talk more about it, but I'm waiting for that trailer to come out endlessly. But it's one of those films where just knowing it's coming out, knowing how much effort he's put into it, I can't not be hyped for Dune. So yeah, definitely number 2 for me.
All right, your number 1?
Number 1, and this one, you'll understand why we're doing another list in a little bit, because this very easily is my number 1, and that is Charlie Kaufman's next film, I'm Thinking of Ending Things. And let me explain why. It's for a couple of reasons. One, the plot of this alone really intrigues me. It being around this like relationships that's just starting out, but you can tell that things are already going sideways. She's not comfortable in it to begin with, and you know, her trepidation, it only expands upon once she visits his family and starts to realize like there's just something really off and like just really like very eerie about them. They're very overly friendly in that way, and that really sets her off. I think that sounds really interesting. But then you look at the director here, Charlie Kaufman. He directed and wrote my favorite movie of the last decade in Anomalisa. That is absolutely my favorite film of the last decade. I think that is such a complex and heavy film that really touches upon just the darker parts of humanity that we don't normally see. The idea of self-gratification, the idea of the human condition in that way, you know, us trying to constantly, feel satisfied when we're not, when we have everything, but yet we're still unsatisfied. I think that film dives into it so well. But the other thing is that something Anomalisa does really well that I don't think enough people talk about is that while it is very much a dramedy in that sense, there is something very dark and honestly very eerie about it. I look at, say, the nightmare scene in Anomalisa. Seeing Kaufman do like a straight up like horror film, I don't think is really something that he's unfamiliar to. They have been present in almost all of his films, and seeing him finally, fully embracing that role is something I'm very excited to get into here. This film looks weird. It looks different. The cinematography just looks immaculate here. The style of it seems like it's going to be something that is just so up my alley. And then the cast here, Jesse Plemons, Jesse Buckley, Toni Collette, and David Thewlis. You really can't go wrong with that cast at all. This just really seems like everything that I love. I mean, even before the trailer was out, the second I heard Kaufman had another film coming out, especially after Anomalisa, how can I not be hyped out of my mind for this? Like, most people have Tenet as the film that they're most excited to see, welcoming them back to getting back into movies again. That is this film for me. If this film disappoints me, then it'll be pretty on brand with 2020 as a whole. But I'll be very upset if it does, because there's just everything that I'm hearing, especially review-wise, just seems like I'm going to fucking adore this film. And I just can't wait till Friday, which is only a few days from now, when I can finally watch it.
I'm definitely going to be watching on Friday, too.
Yes.
It's not making my list. Tenet did not make my list either. It came close, but then the reviews, I started reading, I'm like, I
was very disappointed by Tenet.
But for me, my number 1 has already been mentioned. The French Dispatch, because this dirty little hipster loves himself some good old Wes Anderson. I love what he does with movies, especially when they get fucking weird. His cast is incredible, and it makes me happy. Like from the trailers, of course. Kevin said it better than me. I'm not going to say it again. Let's just move to our next list. 5 best movies that we've watched during quarantine.
Mm-hmm. Now this one I came up with because, you know, we're all just like cooped up inside our homes and we need something new to watch. So I don't know how you did it. I did it solely based on ones I watched for the first time, because for a while, until I would say July or August, when I just was not into watching anything because I only watched Sequester and Big Brother content. For a while, I was trying at least to watch at least one new movie every single month that I've like should have watched for a while, but haven't. I don't know if you structured it that way, but that's how I did it. Since I went first last time, I'll let you go first, though.
No, I went first last time. I started 5.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, I started.
Okay. Okay, so I'll get started. Number 5 for me is one that this is a new movie. I included 2 new movies on there that are actually my top 2 of the year. Number 5 is Palm Springs. It was on Hulu earlier in June or July, and I absolutely adore this film. Going into it, I think some people might be a little bit hesitant because, it's another one of those tired, like, Groundhog Day formulas, but I feel like Palm Springs does something different with it. Palm Springs really touches upon the idea of mortality and time and what you can really do with it. And, you know, does us changing these things, the effect that it has on us? Why are they doing this stuff? Why are they trapped in this loop? You know, why are they just doing this aimlessly? Why are they not trying to, you know, break it or anything like that? I feel like that's something that Palm Springs touches upon really well. Andy Samberg and Christine Milioti just have such incredible chemistry. They work off each other so well. They're both hilarious. Christine Milioti especially. I think she's the big standout of this movie for me. So many hilarious moments. But again, I think it's a deeply human film. And I think it's one of the better romantic comedies that I've seen in forever. And I can't recommend enough. It's on Hulu now. Just watch it. Palm Springs, 100%. Amazing film.
Yeah, it's an incredible film. For me, I'll do 5 and 4.
Okay.
Spaceship Earth, also on Hulu, also a neon movie. Basically, for those that don't know, it's about Biosphere 2, which is, if you do not know what that is, that was basically what caused the movie Biodome.
Oh, yeah, happen. I do know what this is. I was going to watch it.
And it's really a fascinating documentary about what Biosphere was. And it has a lot of people that were inside of it. And it's really cool. It's got a lot of really interesting footage from the time. And it definitely like makes you wonder what could have happened or like what went wrong and stuff like that. And it's a really great documentary that really was incredible and did really well in Sundance, and it was a lot of fun with a good sense of humor to it. My number 4 is going to be Onward because that movie got me good. I did not think I was going to like this movie at all. I'm not a big D&D person. Big shocker. Nerd does not love D&D. That is true. I'm a nerd that does not love D&D. There's but the way they handle the brother relationship is just so amazing. And the storytelling is so great. And what they do in 90 minutes is just wonderful. It's on Disney Plus. If you haven't seen it, see it.
Yeah, Onward would have made my list, but I actually saw that before quarantine, like in theaters. So that's why. That's why it didn't count for me. That was one of the last movies I saw.
We had it at my job, but like I didn't get a chance to see because I was busy with my.
Oh man, yeah, that really sucks. But I'm glad Disney Plus put it out when they did, because if they hadn't have, Onward would have been like their first failure in like forever. Like it would have bombed horribly. So I'm glad that they put it on Disney Plus. And I can't wait to watch that one again. I liked Onward quite a bit. Number 4 for me is also a 2020 movie. It's easily my favorite movie 2020, and that's The Five Bloods, Spike Lee's new film. I absolutely adore this film. Spike Lee, this is one of those directors that I was really trying to watch all of his filmography before. I only got like 3 films in. I unfortunately did not get to watch like the rest of his stuff, but it didn't matter anyway, because I think The Five Bloods is easily one of his best films. It's a very complex film, not just about war, but really how the war is never stopping for all of these men who, you know, are people of color, which I don't think we normally get to see, you know, Vietnam War soldiers who are people of color and the struggle that they're still going through. The fact that they're still going through these situations, not just because of their PTSD, but because they feel that they don't belong in this world. They feel the world doesn't, you know, appreciate them. They feel like they're not being, you know, awarded what they deserve, that their efforts have not been as welcomed. And I think this film touches upon that so well. The cast in here is just absolutely phenomenal. Delroy Lindo gives easily one of the best performances that I've seen of the year. One monologue especially, just absolute perfection. And it's one of those films where I think it definitely will start out slow for some, but stick with it, especially once you get through a certain scene. That's when I think the film gets really great and becomes absolutely one of his best films. I can't gush about it enough. To Five Bloods, definitely. Oh, it's on Netflix. Can't recommend it enough.
Yeah. What was that? That was your 4, right?
That was 4, yeah.
Yeah, so do your 3.
Okay. 3. Now we get to ones that aren't 2020 movies. These are just ones I watched for the first time that I've been wanting to see for a long time. Number 3 is The Producers. This is a film that, you know, Mel Brooks. Yes, I know. I have not seen a lot of Mel Brooks stuff. I was trying to watch more of it, and I meant to watch more of his other films. I just never did. But I finally watched The Producers, and as someone who prior to this was only familiar with the musical, which I do like, the movie I'm a bit 50-50 on, but the musical I do like quite a bit. I now definitely see why people say this works better as a movie than a musical, because just the darkness of it all is something that I absolutely adore. I think that the comedy here is just so spot on. Zero Mostel and Gene Wilder, such amazing chemistry from both of them. But it really is the physical comedy of it all. That's what really gets to me. I think they both are just absolutely hysterical. Gene Wilder especially, any line that he said, like, I was just dying of, like, when he's like, I'm in pain and I'm wet and I'm still hysterical, like stuff like that. I love it. I absolutely love it. And the way, I think what works so well about it for me is the way that he plays it so straight. It's something that others just simply couldn't do. I mean, they're literally making the worst play possible about Hitler, and it's so deeply offensive, but that's why it's so funny, because it's so wrong in so many ways. And I think that's why it works so well. It's so off color. It's something that you really just could not do today. When people say like Mel Brooks couldn't make a movie today, I think it's because the type of comedy that he does is just not something that would be as appreciated now. And I think we really get to see how the producers worked in its time. It's shocking to me that people did not really like it as much back then. It was not a film that was that appreciated. Now it is. But I'm glad to see that it definitely is now. And the Springtime for Hitler sequences is just one of the greatest things ever. The way that the audience is so caught off guard, but then quickly they just think it's like a big farce and they're just like laughing about it. And you realize, oh shit, their efforts have failed. Like they haven't made the worst play ever. They've made the best, like unintentionally funny play ever. It's just amazing. There's so much I love about it. It's one of the funniest films I've seen in a very long time. So definitely The Producers, number 3.
All right. So for me, this is where it gets really hard. All my whole list is in 2020 just because that's where it came from for me.
Okay.
So for me, my number 3, which is so fucking close to my number 2, Bill and Ted Face the Music. I've seen this movie twice. I love every second of it. It does what you love about Bill and Ted movies. It does it better because like women have an actual role in it. The weird off-color homophobic jokes aren't there. The movie is just a fucking delight. It's what we need right now, and it's so funny. And if you love these characters, you still will love these characters. If you like these characters, you will love these characters more. Also, like there's like people that you wouldn't expect to return to the movie. And also, it's got my favorite Jillian Bell performance I've ever seen. She's in 3 scenes and just nails it. Like she has the most insane arc in this movie, and it's just so funny. For me, my number 2. So like, as I said before, give me a good musical. That's all I need half the time. And it's so weird for me by how much I absolutely love the adaptation of Hamilton, the stage at like Like the fact that it is literally, so like my biggest issue when I watch a stage adaptation, like just on like a film version, it makes me wish I was at the theater. But this adaptation of Hamilton, which I've only seen one or two other movies do this for me. The other one would definitely be Passing Strange, which Spike directed, did a really great job of getting the camera on stage without being like in the way. Like you feel like you're there, you're part of the show, and it's fucking beautiful. Like, and I cry so much watching that version of Hamilton. It's just so well done. Yeah. You're number 2 and then 1,
okay.
I guess. Or
so number 2, another one that I've wanted to see for a long time, but I originally had this at number 1. I did a tie for 2 because it's 2 films that I have wanted to see for a long time. And then I just changed my number 1 after you brought up one to me. Number 2 is a tie between 2 films I've wanted to see for a long time, Do the Right Thing and The Iron Giant. Both of these films. And the reason why I put these both like at a tie is because both of these films got similar reactions to me. One of them was, how the fuck haven't I seen this before? Because they're both amazing. 2, I think it's just how groundbreaking they are. Do the Right Thing in the sense where it touches upon these issues that were important then, but I think we can both agree never have been more important than they are now. Like everything that Do the Right Thing is doing, it's so ahead of its time, the type of issues that it's trying to do, the way it covers, things like systemic racism, the way that it covers just different backgrounds that these people have, the different perspectives they have. Again, the way everyone's divided, this is literally now. Like you could film this now, and I think it wouldn't really be all that different. It's crazy to think about how this was a film that was in the late 80s, and it's still so relevant today. The way that they, especially the scene where you just see everyone just like shouting every racial insult possible, it's such an effective scene because you think about the fact that they probably hear these words all the time to the point where they're not even like racial slurs them anymore because they've heard them so often, and they know exactly what they're not at all, like this is not something that isn't, they're not used to at this point. And it's sad to think about, but I think that's something that Lee did such a great job with. And just seeing how passionate Spike Lee was with this film, I just adore everything about it. And then The Iron Giant, this is a film that one of my friends has told me to watch for so long now. I finally watched it, and I'm so happy that I did. The animation is groundbreaking. I think it's something that just does not get talked about enough. And then again, similar to Do the Right Thing, the issues that it's trying to touch upon, I think are very important. It definitely can be a film that is about the dangers of war, but it also is about how we should treat, everyone everyone is human in that way, and seeing the human features of the Iron Giant, this, robot that was meant to be this weapon, and seeing him learn to love and things like that, I think is just incredible. Both of those films deeply touched me, deeply affected me, and they both belong at number 2 for that reason. So that's my number 2.
Okay. I guess I'll do my number 1 then. My number 1 is Palm Springs, which I saw.
All right. Yes.
Right after it was won in Sundance. And it's pretty much exactly the same movie from when I saw it to what it is now. I think maybe a line or two change. I'm not sure. But God, this movie hits me so good. Like, give me a good, smart romantic comedy that's got some weird shit in it, and I'm good. And oh my God, you were so right about what with Chris Milioti and Andy Samberg and J.K. Simmons in that scene towards the end of the movie that I don't really want to talk about because it's a spoiler. But like everything about the movie just is just so perfect, and there's just so much love in it. I love movies that have like it doesn't have to be a love story, but movies that have love in it.
So much heart, yeah.
Yeah. Your number 1?
All right, so my number 1, I changed at the last second because you brought it up. I don't necessarily count it as a movie, but if I had to say for sure what is the best thing I've watched in quarantine, it's absolutely Hamilton. Number 1 is without a doubt Hamilton. And here's the thing. Me being a big theater geek myself, someone who just absolutely loves everything about, Broadway and things like that. This lived up to my expectations in basically every way. Hearing these songs, I've heard them so many times, and I adore the cast recording so much. I now respect it in a different light because now I know the context behind it. And things like, say, Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story, something that it's a song that has deeply resonated with me for so long, because I've always looked at it as they're not talking about Hamilton's death. They're talking about your death. They're talking about what legacy are you going to leave behind. And that's why I think that song speaks to me on such a deep level in that way, because it's all about, are you going to have enough time to do what you want to do? You know, Are you going to run out of time before you can have that legacy? What's going to happen when you're left behind? Are there going to be people around who want to tell your story? I mean, it's really complex stuff. And the way that Lin-Manuel Miranda just perfectly encapsulates all that into the show is amazing. And I don't want to spoil it, but that ending I look at completely differently now after watching the show. I mean, it's not at all what I thought it was, but I love it that much more because of it. And just seeing some of these musical numbers, like the way that he literally has a character known as the Bullet, and you're just waiting for that bullet to enter the story. You know what that bullet is eventually going to do. Masterful stuff. And the performances here, I mean, you seeing, again, all of these people deserved the awards that they got, but actually seeing why they got it is just another level for me. Like, Leslie Odom Jr. deserves every single accolade that he's ever gotten for that role. Same with Lin-Manuel Miranda. Same with, like, you know, Renee Elise, she is incredible as well. Just everyone in this show is the best. The way that Disney Plus was able to make this available for everyone, I am very back and forth with Disney Plus, because I feel like it's a platform that doesn't really know what the hell they want. But this is everything that they were made for. Like, this is the kind of thing that should be on Disney Plus. This is the kind of thing that I think people should watch if they haven't. And if we couldn't have gotten In the Heights this year, I'm happy we got at least something from the great Lin-Manuel Miranda. Like I said, I don't necessarily
like more. Like, In the Heights actually like a hair more than Hamilton. I love Hamilton. Like, yeah. For me, I already, you know, I don't necessarily count it as a movie, but if I really had to distill it down to like what I enjoyed the most in quarantine, Hamilton is very much my number one. So one more list. We can go a little bit quicker with this, because I really do want the show over by 5 o'clock.
Yes.
Because it's a long one, and I like these shows being personally short, but it's okay. It's good content. That's the most important thing. So as we're talking Charlie Kaufman for the last list, because I think I'm ending things. I'm going to start, since I have a 5. I know you don't.
I have a 4.
I'm going to start with Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. Holy shit! I love this book. This movie is great. It's got weird comedy. It's what would happen if Charlie Kaufman decided to make a movie that's just funny and strange. Like, I feel like most of his movies are more than just or have a lot more drama in them than this. And this is not a drama-free movie. It's got a lot of drama. It's got a person that is probably mentally ill, but like, it's very funny and showed the world what Sam Rockwell really could bring. I'll do my number 4 too, since I have both of those. My number 4, as a theater practitioner, I had to choose Synecdoche, New York. That movie,
that's the one I gotta watch still.
It is a rough fucking movie, and it is a rough 2 hours, but it is a great 2 hours. As an artist who constantly is trying to make the best work he can, this movie is not peak Philip Seymour Hoffman, but very close, and is part of the reason why I'm so excited for I Think I Should End Things.
Yeah, that's the one that I really need to watch, because I feel like that's everything that I'd adore. So number 4 for me, again, going through this list, there are a few Kaufman films that I'm realizing I haven't seen. So I really just put the 4 that I have seen on there. This is my least favorite from Kaufman, but I still like it quite a bit. Adaptation. And here, I'm not going to say too much about it for a little bit, because to be honest, I think this is a film that I do need to watch again. I think when I watched it initially, I just didn't really appreciate as much, because I was only like 16 or 17 when I watched it. And I think if I watched it now, I definitely would appreciate it a lot more. But I can say that I think it's a really good film that talks about, you know, what screenwriters can go through and things like that. And when you're struggling to like adapt a certain thing, the dual role of Nicolas Cage, easily one of his best roles. I remember getting a little wacky towards the end. I think I definitely appreciate it more now. But because again, I've only seen 4 of his movies. Adaptation is number 4. Definitely want to watch it again though, because I think I would. I liked it. I think I'd like it even more on a rewatch. Okay, number 3. Now we get to the ones that I really do adore. Number 3 is Being John Malkovich, easily. This film is just absolutely insane. Everything about this film, I love so much. I think that the performances right off the bat from like John Cusack and everyone are just incredible here. But then what the film is really about, the idea that this puppeteer is like, he's literally inside the head of John Malkovich. I mean, there's just endless possibilities there. And when, but I especially love it when Cameron Diaz, I think, gets inside his head, because her character is like so much more interesting. She's doing all these things that she wasn't doing before. And it can get kind of heartbreaking, because she realizes, I enjoy this more than I do my actual life. And I think that's something that Kaufman just touches upon so well, is the idea of unsatisfaction and like, are we ever going to find that thing that makes us happy? I think he always touches upon that really well. And I think there's just, there's so much that it says about obsession and power and things like that. And I adore that film so much. There's so much I love about Being John Malkovich. It's one of the most deeply human films out there, and it deserves all the praise it's ever gotten. So that's my number 3.
So my number 3 is Adaptation.
All right.
I saw it also when I was 16 for the first time, of course, like when it first came out. I think it's just a really fun and good movie about a book. Like, because Susan Orlean's books are impossible to adapt. Like, I've read her books. I love her work.
Mm-hmm. I have heard that.
And the humor of it is just so rightly Charlie Kaufman. I'm not going to add much more because Kevin did a great job there. Number 2, Being John Malkovich.
Yes,
this was like my favorite movie for a very, very long time. As I got older, it stopped being my favorite of his movies. But I think just the weird darkness of it and the Malkovich scene is the funniest thing that John Malkovich has ever done. All right, you're number 2 then, I assume, and then
all right. Number 2 is probably the one that's going to be closest to I'm Thinking of Ending Things, and that's Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And I mean, talk about another movie that just is so depressing to think about. The idea that you have this couple and they're literally erasing each other's memories of each other. Like, that's how much they can't be together, because it's just, it's caused them such stress that they feel they need to do this. And I think there's just so much that this film has to say about relationships and about connection and things like that. Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet, some of the best performances of all time, period. They're both incredible in this movie. Cinematography is amazing. Michel Gondry's directing is just incredible. It's just amazing. And it's just one of the best films of all time. Definitely number 2.
And I know we already talked about number 1, but talk about a little bit more.
Yes, Anomalisa is 100% my number 1. And here's the thing. Anomalisa is one of those films that I was initially really excited for in 2015, but I didn't really realize what I was getting myself into. I didn't realize how different this film was really going to be. There's so much I respect about this film, especially, and this is something I did not talk about, the idea of literally almost everyone in this film is played by the same actor, except for like 2 characters, I think is brilliant. The idea that our main character basically views everyone the same. He hears everyone the same. I think is such an interesting idea, because he's someone who legitimately does not fit into this world. He doesn't have the happiness that everyone does. He doesn't go about life in the same way that everyone does. He is very much out of touch with the world. And seeing how he tries to kind of, escape that through someone like Lisa, who he views as different, and you think things are going to go well, but then things do start to go sideways. It's such an amazing story. And David Thewlis's performance, I just don't think he gets enough credit here. I think way more people need to talk about how good he is. The film has maybe the best sex scene of all time. The 20-minute scene is honestly, it's so deep and personal, and it's one of the most intimate things I've ever seen. That 20-minute scene is just like absolute perfection. It's one of my favorite scenes in all of cinema. And it's one of those films where I have shown it to so many people. And similar to how in TV, my main thing to recommend to people is The Leftovers. In film, it's always Anomalisa. And 99% of the time, people end up telling me it's like one of their favorite movies. So I just can't recommend it enough.
My number 1 is Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. As a person that's had a lot of heartbreak It means a lot to me, and a lot of those memories are like, oh man, I really wish I can erase. Also, it's so weird because like my most recent memory of seeing Eternal Sunshine was for an experience in MarkTalk where we went around like where it was shot, and we all watched it on beds. Originally, it was gonna be on the beach, like it was a big like ticket thing, and I went with my girlfriend at the time. And there are memories of that trip that I really wish I could erase. But that is what that is, and that movie is just incredible, and that soundtrack is one of the best. I also want to speak on Anomalies for a second. The voice casting is incredible, and I think that movie is very underrated. I love Troy Kaufman movies, and I barely missed my number. Like, for me, there's 6 movies of his that I absolutely love, and one of them I can watch, which is Human Nature. But yeah. To wrap things up, since we are going a little bit longer than I want to, this is how you can follow Kevin. Kevin Falk 7 on Twitter. If you love BB, Big Brother, TV movie reviews, his YouTube page, Kevin Falk. That's
and I will watch Survivor. I will watch Survivor Kagayan, Andrew. I will finish it.
Coming Friday, we got MarkTalk, Brant Steele Day. If you want to be in, reach out to me. Kevin, I always like to ask my guests, do you want to be in this week?
Sure. Why not? Why not?
Awesome. So if you want to reach out to me, you can tweet at me at MarkLevy85. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here, Kevin. It really means a lot to me.
Of course.
And I will see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.